not going to leave the shoe in the fire. We're just going to come directly below the burner. And hold on to it until the welding rod, the brazing rod begins to flow. I do rock it back and forth just a little bit. I hope you can see this on the video, I'm not sure though. And we are superheating the shoe, so it will dissolve very rapidly. We're approaching the melting temperature of both the flux cord rod and the shoe. And this is the quickest way to send one of these shoes to hell. I'll take it out, kind of rock it back and forth. We can see it's still not quite melted. When it goes, it'll go very quickly, and that's your job to get it out of the fire as soon as it runs. And as soon as it runs, we'll get it to the face of the anvil and press down on it with our hammer until it fuses. Alright, so we come out of the fire and then just press down. Don't hit the shoe when it's this hot. Bad things will happen. What we're doing right now is the anvil's drawing heat and the hammer's drawing heat. And we're kind of just freezing that, that welding rod in place. Now that it's reached more of a forging temperature, back to its original dimensions. And then we'll come to the horn. Clean up our bar. And we can just do a little final shaping on the shoe. Have to do a little rasping and decide if we're going to crease it or just punch it. Very few things can't be solved on an aluminum shoe with a rasp. Rasping I've done, that it's solid. It's just a little bit of almost a cold shunt that showed up, but nothing that I would worry about. So we can kind of hide that. I have a little stamp here that has my last name on it. I'll just stamp my name over that and pretend it's not there. Again, it's best to strive for not having any of those little seams show up, but I know that's strong enough, so that's more of a little distraction to take your eye off of it. And then we can just come around one more time, clean up our shape. This just closes the whole shoe. The hard part with working aluminum is even overlapping blows, so as not to get a lot of marks on the shoe. And a cheap little drywall sanding sponge while the shoe's still warm is a good way to see how you're doing. Just run it over the shoe. I'll take off that fine layer of oxidation. You can see where you've messed up. And aluminum is notoriously hard to work with until you really develop some hammer control. The other option is to take a flatter and go over the shoe, but it's a lot of practice. You'll be able to make one without a lot of excessive hammer marks. Now, one benefit to deep seating out the toe of these shoes is we do gain a little width at the toe, and where I'm not going to put a steel wear plate in this type of aluminum shoe, width of metal increases wearability, thickness doesn't. The other thing you may like to do is come around now and put a rolled toe on it before you lay out for either your creasing or your nail punching. One thing I like to do is make a bunch of these. This was 15 inches of metal. I'll make a bunch of different sizes and just have them so I can modify them as far as the nail holes go at the horse. I do like to crease these shoes. I'll hem it, after I've got to this stage, I'll hem it over the horn, let it cool off a little bit, and with the aluminum at a fairly colder temperature, run my creaser through. I find I get less distortion, and a lot of times when you run a creaser through aluminum, it'll almost give you a little, like a volcano that starts, and then when you go around and flatten it back out again, it'll bugger up your crease, and you'll find yourself going back and forth from creasing to hammering to creasing to hammering. So use a rasp quite a bit on these aluminum shoes. A half round is good for getting in the inside web, cleaning that up. Again, it'll save you a lot of money learning how to make these aluminum bar shoes yourself rather than stocking them, and it gives you the ability to make them on site. The downside is you can only make one bar shoe at a time. You can't leave the other one in to heat up like you can with steel. But it'll save you a lot of time, and it'll really improve your forging skills quite a bit. So hopefully you enjoyed that, and I'll leave the creasing and the nail punching to you guys.